YouTube. Oh, do I have to click go live? All right. Give me another second. I'm not sure this is working or not yet, guys. Hold on. I still don't see it. Oh. Okay. I see myself on YouTube. Why do I not see Jess Nelson on YouTube? Why isn't it showing my participants?
Now I see you. Yeah.
Can you guys hear?
Oh, I can't do that. It's gonna double echo.
Does anyone in chat? Can you hear me? Chat, stop scrolling too. I don't know what's happening. I really don't. Oh, Ashley Canes. Sabrina says I look awesome. Thank you, Sabrina. Roxy Gold. Can you guys hear me? Rosie, can you hear me? Okay, they can hear us.
I'm gonna have to come out and come back in because it's playing you in the background.
Can you guys hear Jess? Let's see if they can hear you.
Put
a 1 in chat if you can hear Jess. Jess, say something.
Hello, hello.
They can hear me. You guys, you can't see. I know you can't see Jess, but can you hear Jess? That's half the problem.
I'm gonna leave you and come back in.
Okay, they said, wait, they say they can hear you. So hold on. This is on my end. Don't go anywhere.
But I can hear you talking right now, and I can hear the delay of the live stream.
I just need to, I don't know why it's not showing you. View? Let's try this. Speaker view? All right, say something now, Jess.
Say something now, Jeff.
Let me watch this. Let's see if that worked. Hold on. I'm sorry about this, guys. I'm trying a new way to stream. All right, so you pop up on screen when you're talking. That's great, but I want it the other way. Gallery view. I'm not sure if it's going to catch up or not. Let's give it a second and see. I'll work this out. I will, but you know, you guys are our test run night.
Yep.
Hi, Cynthia. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Be Kind. Feeding it. I'm so glad you're here. Rosie, Danielle, Flame Lily, Fuzzy Doxy, Salty, everyone. All right. It still does not show you on the screen. Maybe because you don't have your camera on.
I don't know. Hold on.
That's probably it. But it should let me have the gallery view. And she left. All right. So she'll be back in a second. So yeah, forgive me the first few minutes while we get this sorted out. We've never used Zoom live on YouTube before, so it's a learning curve. As you can see, I am having a lot of fun with these filters. All right, there's Jess. I see you on my screen. Let me see if you show up on YouTube. There's about a 30-second delay between us talking and it coming up on YouTube. So
okay.
I do not see.
Stop the double echo anyway.
Yeah, I do not see a Jess Nelson on the screen, and I really don't know how to fix this. Let me just check a few settings. Hide self view, edit profile picture. No. Participants. Me and Jess. I think it's because your camera's off. That's really what it looks like to me.
Well, I don't look as cool as you, so it's all right. We'll figure it out for next time. Jess
is here talking to me. You guys can hear her. She's throwing soda cans around the room because she does that when she gets mad. So I am here. I am in my winter ice cream look. I have had so much fun playing with these Zoom filters. The other day, there was a tweet that went around and it went viral. A lawyer in a Zoom hearing showed up as a cat. And he couldn't figure out how to turn the filter off. It was hilarious. But it also echoed something that Jess and I had talked about with you guys recently when we were talking about how Zoom hearings can affect the judicial process. And we had some questions about all that. So that was a stunning example of something we had just talked about. I thought it was funny. And I thought, you know what? If these guys can use Zoom filters, why can't I? So here we are. There are so many funny ones. I picked this one, first of all, because I didn't feel like doing my makeup. All of this is all the filter. I didn't have to do a darn thing. And I love that. But also here in Texas, we were supposed to be getting between 3 and 8 inches of snow over the weekend into Monday. And I am living for this snow queen thing. So that's why I'm dressed up like this tonight. And Jess is dressed up too, only we can't see her because her laptop kind of died this morning. Jess, what are we going to do about that? That's terrible.
I don't know. You really make me crave like Turkish delight, and I get up.
Maybe
Like,
my cat,
a
Mr.
fur
Tumnus, will
coat
jump up.
and a cat, a wardrobe and a lion.
Yep, we definitely need a lion. I can maybe get a filter on Hobbs, a little lion
Maybe.
face on him. That'd be
There
great.
you go.
So we have a lot to talk about tonight with the case. I was expecting charges this week. I really was. Maybe it was wishful thinking. But instead of charges, we've just had a document dump in the last 5 minutes. Right. There are a bunch of new filings that came up through the court, but they're all about the discovery hearing that's happening on the 17th. All right. There's nothing earth shattering in them, nothing new that we don't already know. I've read through them already. So I'll do a video about those tomorrow. And I'll put the documents up in Discord right after the live stream so you can read through them if you want. But there's nothing, I don't need to put them on screen and read them to you now because it's just a bunch of nothing. All right, but I will do a video going through them tomorrow just so we can have it on the record. Salty, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that so much. And Salty asks how it's going. It's going really good. It's really cold. I'm freezing to death. Aside from that, it's good.
Texas doesn't know what to do with snow.
We do not. We had 100-car pileup. And 5 deaths in that just yesterday, about 5 miles from my house. So
I'm surprised it was only that few. I mean, I know that's a lot, but for the amount of cars, that's good. That was only 5.
Yep. And there was another pileup in Austin and one in Dallas. So the whole state is having trouble dealing with this. Texas is not equipped for big winter weather. So this weekend's going to be rough. We're going to do a big shop tomorrow, make sure we have food for a couple days. My concern is the power might go out. That's going to be a problem. So we'll see what we can do. But anyway, the reason we're here tonight and the reason I brought Jess on is because last night we watched something kind of interesting. Court TV did a segment where Shanley Painter had interviewed Emma Daybell, and she said some things. So Jess and I want to talk to you about what she said and what we think it means. So Jess, what did you think of Emma's non-interview last night on Court TV?
At first I didn't want to watch it because I don't really care what Emma Daybell has to say. I think she's rude and she comes off as a brat. I mean, obviously I don't know her, but it's how she comes off. Her and her husband have both posted some pretty tasteless kind of jokes during all this crap, but it really wasn't an interview. It was more of a, hey, I'm going to call you. Is it okay if I record it? Kind of a conversation. There wasn't a ton of information. More, I think, was said by what wasn't covered than what was said, But it was short and sweet and to the point. I'm glad we didn't have to watch it for a long time.
I agree. And when a member of our community was the first person who let me know that this was happening, and they mentioned in Discord, hey, Court TV is going to have Emma Daybell, and I was like, yuck, no, not watching it. But then I thought, you know what? Probably do need to watch this to see if she's changed her story or if she let something slip that we didn't know before. So we watched it together in Discord because we didn't want to go through that pain alone. But I learned some things from her interview that really give me a very strong opinion about what's happening with Tammy's autopsy report. So I want to go through that with you, but I want to make it very clear to anyone that may be watching Mark Means that this is 100% my opinion. 100% speculation, opinion, theory. I am not stating facts. Okay. So the first thing that Emma said was that she learned about the autopsy results being released through the news. Like we all learned the other day through that statement. Okay. And I was like, all right. So they didn't call the family ahead of time to say, hey, the autopsy's finished. I was like, huh, that's a little curious. All right. And then she said that she called the sheriff's office, Fremont County Sheriff, and asked if she could see the report. And Emma says that the sheriff said she had to come down there and talk with the detectives first. And I thought that was pretty darn interesting. What did you think of that part, Jess?
Yeah, when they don't want to give you your own family member's autopsy report without you coming in person to answer questions, it's probably not a good thing.
Yeah, that would make me stop and be like, what?
Say natural causes either.
Right. That was my first shock was, huh, okay. Yeah. And she also said that the sheriff's department or detectives wanted to talk with everyone, like all of her siblings. Like, That's interesting. And that he wouldn't let them see it unless they would have to promise not to disclose what they heard. Oh, okay. Now, I don't know about you guys, but for me, what that says is that autopsy report is not natural causes. And the reason they want to talk to everyone involved because they think they might be involved in some way or know some information that could help them with the charges regarding that. And Emma's just like, I don't know why they won't let us see it. And I'm like, really? You can't put that one together? My God.
Can't imagine why.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, she did claim misinformation in the media about her mother's death. And I'm like, well, we do have some misinformation because we have what Emma said, which is different from what Chad said, which is different from what so-and-so said. So yeah, there is misinformation and it's coming from them mostly. So I don't know what she's talking about with that, but
I thought it said a lot too, but they told her she couldn't talk about it, but she didn't think it was a big deal if she talked about not knowing what's in it.
Right. Yeah, make sure you don't talk about it. Okay, I'm going to call court TV.
Yeah, let me go tell everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way Emma Daybell seems to think. Feeding It says in chat, she also said that they wouldn't call her until after next week. And I think that is after charges. Possibly. Maybe. Or it's possible they need to talk to them before they bring charges, to see if they could be persons of interest. We don't know. That's all speculation. Do not go running off with that with fact that Awen said she's a person of interest. I did not. It's possible. Definitely.
Can you imagine? I really didn't see that coming. I didn't think they would wrangle in any of Chad's kids in conspiracy charges. And it sounds like, that could be a possibility.
I would be shocked. Absolutely shocked if that's what happens. It's possible. Anything is possible with this crazy case. But now a lot of people are saying, well, a lot of people, one person, Mary says, I feel sorry for her too, even if I don't like the way she comes across and the way she was protecting her father, but it's understandable. Let me address that. I do think that it must be torture for these children and Tammy's parents to not know the results of that autopsy report. All right. I think that's horrible. That must feel, I can't imagine what that would feel like. All right. At the same time, Emma mocked the children's deaths.
Yep. I do think she and her siblings are a victim. No matter what happened, they've lost both of their parents, So, there's got to be quite a bit of cognitive dissonance going on. And, you can't blame them. I mean, I can't imagine being in that situation. But just because you are a legitimate victim doesn't mean you're allowed to victimize other people. And I think that's what she did. I mean, mocking the kids' death, the jokes that she put about the dirt for sale and stuff like that right after the kids were found. I mean, they do still have family out there and they're getting the information the same way that she is on the news. And I can't imagine having to try to deal with somebody who supposedly is an adult. And isn't she a teacher?
Yes, she is.
Okay. Can you imagine? I mean, I get her and Letitia Stouts are going at it for teacher of the year in my book, I guess. Somebody who has a teaching degree should know better than to act like that, especially when it comes to kids, You would think that would have hurt her more, that her dad potentially killed 2 kids and buried them in the backyard.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So I have some harsh feelings about Emma and Joseph, her husband, Joseph Murray, because of the things that they have said and done as this case has gone forward. The mocking of the children's death, I can't with that. That I don't care who you are, right? No. But if law enforcement finds the bodies of 2 dead children in your yard, you don't make fun of it. You don't post jokes on social media. So that's how I feel about it. But all of that aside, I can understand the frustration with her being like, hey, that's our mom's autopsy. Regardless of everything else going on in the world, that's my mother, and I want to see her autopsy report. I get that, and I think she should be able to see it. But there's a reason law enforcement wants to talk to her before she does. Number one, to impress upon her the importance of not disclosing that information. Okay, she can't go calling court TV and say, oh, I read the autopsy report. It said this, this, and this. She can't do that if there's an ongoing investigation. And there's a probability that she could do something like that. Look at her social media posts from the past. So I'm sure they're very concerned about that. But
Just
also,
thinking about it, though, I mean, it could be completely innocent on law enforcement side. I mean, maybe there's not information that would wrangle in any of the kids or whatever. I mean, they could be legitimately looking at her going, she really doesn't think her dad has anything to do with this, and this is going to prove that he potentially killed his wife. And we want to bring them all in to speak to them all at once so they know what's coming, so that they don't get the news that the charges are coming when they're dropped on the news like everybody else. I mean, that could be one side of it. I doubt it, but it could be. The police might just want to talk to them. I don't think that's what it's going to be, though. I think somebody's in trouble.
Yep. Cynthia Berg says in chat that it could be because they have yet to be forthcoming with the investigators. That's why they want to talk to all the children. I agree with that. I think that they have a lot of questions. They've gotten some strange statements here and there, and they want to clear everything up with all of the kids who Chad says were all there within a few minutes of her death, or him discovering her death. And they might want to get all their stories straight. Law enforcement might need to wrangle them all together and get everything down on paper in formal statements if that hasn't been done yet. I don't know. But the bottom line is, what it tells me is, if those results came back as natural causes, they wouldn't need to do any of this stuff.
No.
They would have been like, yeah, here's the report. We're done. So that's what I'm gleaning from this whole last couple of days with these autopsy reports. So Lace Girl asks, when do you think they will file charges if they do? I have no idea. Lace Girl, I kind of thought they might be coming quickly, like this week or maybe next week. But there could be a lot going on. They have said that this is an ongoing investigation with Tammy's death. So there could be a lot more that needs to happen. Now that the Idaho Attorney General has finished their investigation, they've turned it back over to the Fremont County prosecutor, and they have to decide if they're going to bring charges and decide, what to do with all the information. So it may take a while for them to go through it all, but I would like to see them tomorrow, today, last week. So
yeah, it would have been a nice birthday present, but no dice.
Yep. Yesterday was Miss Jess Nelson's birthday, so I want to say happy birthday in chat. It was a fun day.
It was.
She's
I had
what,
2 cakes.
24 now? 24, 25?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, goodness. So that's what I think about the Emma Daybell thing. I think it's strange that she was willing to make a public statement, even though she had just had a conversation with the sheriff who said, you're going to have to keep this all quiet if we show you the report. That should have given her some sense of, I don't need to talk about this in public right now. No, I don't. But it's Emma. What are you going to do? So that's what's happening there.
She's definitely now put out there that they're going to speak to her and that she's willing to talk to the press. So that was pretty stupid for her. If she didn't want to give any more interviews, there's going to be a ton of people trying to track her down to talk to her if they think she'll talk. Definitely.
So we're going to have to keep an eye on that and see what happens. In other news, Mr. Mark Means, there's some stuff is going on behind the scenes in the case, and let's just give a background of what's happened. Remember that we watched the hearing, the motion to disqualify the prosecutor, Rob Wood. We all watched that together here. If you didn't see it, it is down in my videos. You can watch it. It was what, 2 weeks ago, week ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And the judge finally ruled that no, we're not removing Rob Wood as a prosecutor. He's doing a fine job. He just said no. He denied it. Apparently, what I didn't know is that Mark Means had filed a motion to reconsider, right? He asked the judge to reconsider his ruling on that. And I have to fix my fingernail. I'm sorry. But the motion to reconsider has been deleted off the court website. It says it's not found when I try to get it. So I have no idea what his motion actually said. Okay. But a couple of days later, the judge files his denial of that motion to reconsider. And he bases it on the fact that there's no basis for a motion like this. All right. The motion to reconsider is very different than like an appeal. He didn't appeal the ruling. He filed a motion to reconsider, which generally he would have to show some kind of new evidence, like, Judge, I know you made that ruling, but look, there's something here that we just found that bolsters our argument. So we'd like you to rehear it with this new evidence. There was nothing. He was just like, I think Mark Mead says something about any applicable laws that may let me have this. Haha. The judge was like, no, that's not how this works.
Crazy.
So I think that was, although I understand Mark Means filing something, I think he did it completely wrong. And the judge said, no, that's not how this works. Sweet cheeks. So it got denied. So there you go. Rob Wood is still the prosecutor. I do expect Mark Means to try again because this is his windmill. If you saw the thumbnail for this video, I have Mark Means and his lance and a windmill. If you know the story of Don Quixote, the Lord of La Mancha, I'm likening that to this. I really am. So Don Quixote is trying to go after his windmill and get rid of Rob Wood. I don't think he'll be successful. Jess, what do you think of this whole mess? Because boy, is that a mess.
I think you're giving him way too much credit as Don Quixote. Just saying. Just saying.
Oh, goodness.
I don't know. I think it's, I don't know what he expected to get out of it. I mean, if you're not saying, like, giving him a reason to reconsider, like, what's the point? Quit wasting the resources that you don't have on BS and defend your client, you know?
Yep.
At some point, he's got to do something to defend his client, not make everybody else look like a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a lot of what we're seeing out of him. It's everybody else's fault.
Right.
Poor Lori, you know? It's not defending her. It's how everybody else around her is screwing things up for her.
We are hearing a lot of that.
Resources, you know?
Fuzzy Doxy, thank you for the super chat. Fuzzy says, Means is desperate. He'll do anything to try and get an upset to throw the case out, but it's not going to happen. I agree with you. I think the reason that I liken Mark Means to Don Quixote is that Mark Means he's a very principled individual, but his principles and ideals are very pie in the sky. They're not always so grounded in reality. And I think what he's trying to do now is show the world, I'm a competent attorney. I can do all this. I will protect her civil rights to the death, whatever. And so he's going after any perceived threat or slight to her civil rights that he can find, but some of them he's making up in his own head. And I think that's a problem. That's going to be a big problem going forward.
I think we've all talked about how, stupid or whatever. And I don't think he's stupid. I mean, obviously he's a lawyer, he's passed the bar and all that kind of stuff. And he's probably really competent when it comes to the type of law that he's been practicing all this time. But I think he's really naive to think that you can take a case like this and have never been a defense attorney. I think this was not the first case he should have taken.
Definitely. And I don't think he had any idea.
And I think he's wasting resources on making sure that nobody's looking down their nose at him rather than protecting Lori. I think these little filings that he's making are more about his ego than they are protecting Lori. You know what I mean?
I agree. And I do think that we're pretty sure there's going to be murder charges, or at the very least conspiracy to commit murder, which means Mark Means will have to at least sit second chair if he's still on the case. But all of these filings, like all this discovery stuff, there were 3 or 4 new filings just today on this motion to compel for discovery. And Rob Wood is just kind of like, dude, you got it all. What, come on, man. And we'll read through those for over the weekend, but it is wasting time. He's wasting a lot of money, and that's why I think the judge shut down his motion to reconsider so fast. It wasn't filed properly. It was not the right form. There's no basis for that kind of motion. And the judge is like, stop, just knock it off, so I think that's what's happening. Then again, that's just my opinion. Nobody run around like that's a fact, but that's what I see happening. And this week, it's just going to continue. Mark Means does want to get rid of Rob Wood. Why? What does he think is going to happen if he gets rid of Rob Wood? Jess, what do you think he thinks will happen if he gets a new prosecutor?
I don't know. I think anybody that took this case is going to be really, really serious about it. I don't think he's going to get a lesser attorney to get it. I mean, I just don't. I don't know if he thinks that Rob Wood just, has it out for his client, or I don't know. I feel like it's personal. I think there's something in the background. It might be a story. Do they know each other in a different way? Has he prosecuted against a friend of his or something? It just seems so personal. It doesn't seem to be about the case or the kids or his client. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Seems to be a whole lot of ego, and that on Pryor's part too. It's kind of weird. They're defending themselves, not their client.
They are. And what we're seeing in chat, a lot of people are talking about John Pryor. Let's address that first. How Mark Means does all these filings, but when we get to court, it's really John Pryor doing all the talking. And I agree. We've certainly seen that. However, if you watch back the hearing, the motion to disqualify hearing, Mark Means, when John Pryor was talking, he was, I don't know, he drove me crazy. It was very triggering. Yeah. His self-righteousness, but your honor, I am outraged kind of attitude, his demeanor, his attitude, everything about John Pryor is ridiculously off-putting. Okay, I cannot listen to that guy. But when Mark Means gave his closing, closing was concise. It made sense. It was easy to follow. It was logical. It had reasoned arguments. And I even said, I think I said during the live stream, I was like, wow, Mark Means did really well.
Mm-hmm.
His closing argument was perfectly delivered, I thought. And a little bit of it might have almost swayed me too. Whereas John Pryor just made me go, and want to run away because
I think
terrible.
It's a defense attorney thing. I mean, they all seem so, and maybe it's the type of person that wants to be a defense attorney. They almost always seem really bullyish. You know what I mean? They all have big egos or whatever. And I do think Mark Means and John Pryor are night and day. I don't think they're anything alike. I think Pryor knows when to bluff and, grandstand and all that stuff. And I think Mark Means is kind of figuring this out as he goes. Oh, I've learned about this. So let's try this angle. But I can't stand to listen to John Pryor either. But you can tell he's been doing this for a while.
Yep.
It still reminds me of the Jodi Arias case.
Mm-hmm.
That whole trial, you almost felt sorry for Jodi Arias.
Yep.
Because the two lawyers just butt heads the whole time. It was who could be the gross, dirtiest old man. It was just so weird. That whole trial was weird.
Mm-hmm.
But it reminds me of that.
Yeah. People are saying that yes, Mark did have a good closing, but I think him and his secretary, another attorney, sat down and went over what exactly. Yeah, I agree that. We've seen some of Mark Means filings where clearly they weren't vetted, they weren't edited, or they weren't spell checked, but for that closing, he was extremely well prepared for it. Maria said, maybe Means has been slightly gaslighted by Lori, and maybe he really believes in her. I know it sounds stupid, but I can't work him out. Maria, I agree with you 100%. I do think Mark Means is quite very much gaslit by Lori. I think he does believe. I don't think he believes she's innocent, because I don't think there's any way anyone can believe that. But I think she thinks she was justified in her actions. And I think that's a result of the gaslighting and the manipulation that we know Lori has done. So I agree. I think that's the case for sure.
I'd lay money that he's her new supply.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be odd if he wasn't.
Yep. Sam Costa says, Mark Means wants to get revenge on the lawyer who thinks he's inadequate as a defense attorney. Sam, there is an element of that for sure, because we even saw that in Garrett Smith's affidavit to the court, where he was saying why he turned that recording over to the defense. He said, well, because the prosecutor said mean things about Mark Means. That's not a reason to do all this. That is not a reason. But clearly that was a sticking point with the defense, was that Rob Wood was mean to Mark Means. All right. Yeah. Take that one.
It's kind of like, I keep trying to figure out how to put it into words. But like if they're all on the football team, Mark Means is the brand new freshman. And Pryor is the quarterback or whatever. Like he knows what he can get away with. He's been playing for a while. He kind of knows, I can push this line this far and probably no further. So I'll stop right there. And Mark Means is like, I'm going to do everything by the book. Like going down a list, like a checklist. Have they violated her rights in this way? Like, can I push this? I think he has a reason for doing the things he does, but it doesn't necessarily make sense and they're not necessarily going to work.
Right.
I think he's trying everything he can to get this to go. And I can't blame him. I mean, that's what he's supposed to be doing. And then John Pryor's just kind of like taking the jackhammer to it. Whatever works, works. It doesn't matter what kind of destruction he leaves in the way.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Now, one of the things that Ashley just brought up, Garrett Smith. I want to talk about Garrett Smith because when we watched the whole hearing for the motion to disqualify Rob Wood, and what I felt at the end of that was that the case that the defense put on was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. First, we had Garrett Smith, who pretty much perjured himself, as far as I'm concerned, my opinion. He contradicted his own sworn affidavit that he gave to the court. He dodged around questions. He contradicted his own answers from earlier in his testimony. I mean, that was one of the worst witnesses they could have called. And of course, that was their star witness. And then the other two yahoos that they had, experts in goodness only knows what, because my brain has repressed that horrifying memory. But the entire defense production that they put on, I think was terrible. Their witnesses were terrible. The point of their witness testimony was terrible. It was just so terrible that you're going to ask the judge to reconsider. Really? What are you going to give the judge? What are you going to give the judge? Because I would like 5 minutes to sit there and question Garrett Smith. Let me at him. And I will have your witness so impeached, his head will spin and he'll have to run to Mexico or something.
He seems like such a terrible attorney.
He is.
I mean, he obviously was setting Rob Wood up, but not only that, like, he was really doing a disservice to his clients by even letting them walk in there.
Mm-hmm.
Any defense attorney worth their salt would have said, "Don't you say a word. Do not talk to the prosecutor."
Yep.
And plus, he did, and like let them say all that stuff. It's crazy.
What would happen if the judge said, "Okay, let's have a new hearing to reconsider the ruling"? And do you think Rob Wood is not going to then get Summer Shiflett up there?
Yeah, no joke.
Then what happens? I mean, it's at some point, Mark Means needs to stop cutting off his nose to spite his face. And that's the point where you let that go now. Just drop it, because you are not going to win that one. All right, let's hear what Summer Shiflett has to say about her ex-attorney, Garrett Smith. I'm assuming it's her ex-attorney. He might not be, but I would think she is now.
Yeah, but if you're Mark Means and you're bothered by the thought that people don't think you're a very good defense attorney and you're in over your head, now would be the time to stop. If John Pryor wants to push it, let him. You don't, because it just looks stupid. Yep. You're just bringing your head into a brick wall. It's not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The judge's ruling about that. Let me read it to you. Actually, there is a way to share my screen. Let me put it on the screen. Give me 1 second to figure this out.
I hope we get a new judge.
Share screen. Where was that fancy little thing that we found? Oh yeah, portion of screen. Here we go. Share. Right there. Right. Can you see the order denying motion reconsideration on the screen?
Yeah.
All right.
Now I see you again.
Oh, I guess I have to stay clicked on it. Do I? All right. Anyway, Here we go. I'll figure this Zoom thing out. Give me time. It says right here. This is what the judge said. On January 19th, 2021, defendant filed a motion for reconsideration, requesting the court to reconsider and amend its order regarding the motion for disqualification of the prosecutor, Mr. Robert Wood. The motion cites the Idaho State Constitution, the United States Constitution, and any other applicable rule of law as the basis for the request relief. That's bad. While the Idaho Rules of Civil Procedure contain provisions for a motion to reconsider, there is no counterpart in the Idaho criminal rules. The Idaho Supreme Court has confirmed that there is no basis for such a motion. In fact, there is no criminal procedural rule that provides a basis to reconsider a decision of this kind. The Idaho rules of criminal procedure have nothing similar to the Idaho rules of civil procedure. Okay, so yeah, that's Mark Means learning the difference between being a civil attorney and a criminal attorney. He got a lesson. I hope he learns it. And it seems the
Did he
judge was
really
not too
think that was
happy.
gonna work?
I think he did.
Reconsider it, because you might know of a rule that I don't know of. That's so stupid.
Well, even the part where he says any and all applicable laws, it's like, that's not how this works. When you're doing something like this is why you cite case precedents all the time. You give the court, here, look at this case, and this case. Here's the ruling. Here's the argument. This is why you can do this for me, right? You give that information to the court. It's not the judge's job to go down to the law library and look up every case in the world to find things that match. That's his job as an attorney. And he didn't do that by saying any and all applicable law. That was just terrible. That was so terrible.
Stupid.
Yeah. So I think, you guys know I come to Mark Means' defense more than I probably should. But in this case, I'm like, that was horrible. It was bad. Bad job, bad attorney. Stop it. A little smack on the hand. So we'll see what happens with that. If he's smart, he will not go for Rob Wood again. He won't.
It's like a little ankle biter dog that's getting on your nerves. You just want to swat him with a newspaper. Like, move on, That's what I see.
Yeah. And I think that's
Chihuahua chewing at his ankle.
That's what the judge's statement read like to me. It was like, what? No, you can't do this. Whack with a newspaper. Get out of here.
Yeah.
So hopefully he will take that under consideration and advisement. All right. So what we have coming up with the case on the 17th, we have the hearing on the motion to compel. All the new court filings that Rob Wood put in today, basically saying why he disagrees with what Mark Means is saying. So we'll go over that over the weekend. And we're going to hear that. I don't think we're going to hear much in that hearing. I don't expect it to be too long. It'll be Mark Means saying, Your Honor, I want the papers. And Rob Wood would be like, dude, he already has them. And the judge will be like, oh, all right, goodbye. I think that's pretty much what's going to happen. So we'll see that on the 17th. The 22nd of March is another hearing, but I think in the next couple of weeks between those, we're going to see some stuff. I really feel it in my bones that these charges were going to be here this week. I am shocked that they're not. So I'm going to hold my breath for next week too. We'll just have to wait and see. Let's see. Beth says, John Pryor threatened to go after Wood again if the motion were denied. Yeah, he's a whatever. He threatens a lot. The whole thing, like Jess, you and I have talked about this a lot. The whole thing of them pushing this as this sort of self-righteous, morally righteous, he's violating the ethics. And I'm like, can we talk about John Pryor and his prior?
Yeah, no kidding.
Can we talk about ethics when it comes to a sexual assault charge that he pled down to so he could keep his law license? Okay. Can we talk about
not to mention the crap they put on Twitter?
Yeah.
I mean, Mark Means is not innocent in that way.
No,
he
he's
all
not.
but declared that Lori was guilty of soulmate sin on his own daggone Twitter page.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to go after
the Woodcocks.
And going after the grandparents.
Yep.
I mean, it's just gross. It's gross.
Yep. So when we look at the body of ethics of the people involved in this, especially Garrett Smith, who just settled a $12 million defamation lawsuit for lying. And if you pull up Garrett Smith's record, he has, I think, at least 8 or 9 ethics violations against his law license. So, I mean, these are not, the pillars of ethics at all.
Again, it reminds me of Jodi Arias. They remind me of Juan Martinez so bad. Going after Jodi and, putting out all the god awful stuff from that case. All the while he's got all that stuff going on in the background. And he wasn't even a defense attorney. He's supposed to be the prosecutor. He was a slime ball too.
Mm-hmm. Kathy Suter asks, when do you see him being forced aside as her lawyer legally? I mean, as in not qualified as criminal defense. That would happen if there are death penalty charges brought.
Penalty charges.
So if we get conspiracy to commit murder and they push for a death penalty, he'll have to step aside. So,
and I don't know what he's thinking, like banging this drum about, everything being about him and not about Lori, and really trying to drag Rob Wood back and back and back. It's only going to make him go, yeah, we're going for death penalty charges. I mean, pissing off the prosecutor is probably not the way to go if you don't want to be second fiddle because death penalty charges are coming.
Yeah. Well, remember, Rob
smart.
Wood's goal, his goal is to just have them behind bars, period.
Yeah.
In an ideal world, they would just confess and we'd be done. Right. Rob Wood doesn't want to go through a multi-year trial. He doesn't want to have to do all this and convince the jury beyond a reasonable doubt. He just wants them to confess. Let's put the case to bed. We're done. That's probably not going to happen given the delusion with which these two people live their lives. You know, they're not grounded in reality. I can say that affirmatively. You know, so I don't think that's going to happen. So we're going to have to see a trial. Is he going to go for the death penalty?
I hope so. You're talking about two kids.
Yeah.
And they still think that they're morally right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just crazy. Vindicated. Right. Maybe not right is the right way to put it, but.
Yep. So we're going to have to wait. Eleni K, thank you so much for the super chat. That is so cute. Big thumbs up sticker there. I appreciate it very much. And Orly said, Mr. Means is setting up an incompetence, or I think you mean ineffective assistance of counsel. I don't think he is. I think Mark Means really believes in what he's doing. He is a highly principled person who believes very much in justice as he perceives it to be. Okay, yep. So there's a clicker. He believes in his idea of justice, even though it doesn't really line up with what's happening.
I think he knows that his client is guilty and he's not going to be able to get her off on that. And so he's trying to get all the technicalities to get it thrown out before they ever get there.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably his only hope, to be honest. I mean, once you put her in her Skittle makeup, you know, making eyes at her husband across the courtroom and thinking that, you know, she's all that in a bag of chips is not going to go well in front of a jury. It's not at all.
Kathy Suter says, really not unless death penalty charges? Wow, is she going to be right in front of the line for an appeal, convicted with bad legal rep? All right, that's two comments now about this. Let's talk about that. Mark Means so far has not been a bad lawyer for her. Okay, no. we don't like Mark Means. All right, fine. We don't like Lori. We get that. But he's filing all the right things, even a little more than he probably needs to be. He's really staying on top of protecting her civil rights. He's really staying on top of the case. It's not like he's dropping the ball. So far, he's not doing a bad job as a defense attorney.
If you flipped it, like just in your brain, you just flipped him and Rob Wood, and he was a brand new DA, we would all be rooting for him. Look at him. He's trying everything he can. He's getting all these hearings out. He's really trying to do a good job for this case. I think it's just his client that everybody hates. And so we automatically think, oh, well, if he's willing to, you know, defend somebody like that, he must be awful. But I do think he's trying. I think he's a little naive and over his head, but I don't think they're going to be able to say he didn't know what he was doing.
Yep.
He's doing too much to get away with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he has done some things that we haven't liked, and we'll call that out immediately, like a lot of his tweets. I've gone live like right after one set of his tweets. I was so angry when he went after the Woodcocks. That is absolutely not something he should be doing. And I told him that right to his face on Twitter, you know?
Yeah, I'm surprised there's not a gag order on this case.
There might be, and I hope it doesn't come to that because I don't know what I'm going to do if I can't make videos.
There's nothing that he has said that's actually good that's come out of his Twitter rants or whatever. Yep. He hasn't said anything good.
Yeah, and when you do read his Twitter as a whole, there's a lot of conspiracy theory type posts that he makes, which make me go, all right, I'm figuring out your number now. You know, I'm getting the measure of Mr. Mark Means. So I expect there to be constant rants that he dumps on Twitter. Now, certainly the other night when they released a statement that Tammy's autopsy was finished and returned to Fremont County, he went a little crazy on Twitter. He had a whole series of tweets. They were repetitive. They were not very well crafted. And they talked about everything but Tammy's autopsy, which to me was just a big deflection. A big, oh God, we don't people will talk about this. Talk about this over here. You know, and I was like, all right, I'm figuring you out, dude. But at the same time, I don't want Mark Means to lose his entire career and everything because of Lori. I don't think anybody should. She's had enough victims, but I do want him to get his head on a little straighter. I really do. I hope that happens because at the end of the day, remember, I'm not speaking in defense of Lori. I want her convicted. I really do. But I want her trial to be airtight. I don't want any mistakes. I don't want to see her get out on appeal. Do you? I want an airtight, ironclad conviction. So every little thing that happens from here forward is really important. And that's why I talk about Mark Means a lot. So, yeah.
I agree.
Let's check in chat. Maria says, it's odd that Chad, Lori, Zulema, etc. all have attorneys who are somehow sleazy apart from Means, as if there's a core of dirt emanating from those two that cannot be stopped. Yeah, I can't disagree with that. Oh, Jess, what do you think about the connection between Garrett Smith and all of these other people in the case?
I don't know. It's weird. Do they? I mean, are there not any more defense attorneys in Idaho? I don't know. It's kind of weird.
It is weird.
Unless it's all word of mouth, like one person views the one lawyer, and so they tell the entire family, "Hey, let's give him some more money." I don't know.
I would not be surprised to find out that it's like their religious group is somehow connected to their wider religious circles that they travel in. It's like, oh, you need this guy, you need this guy. He's one of us, kind of a thing.
Not that most defense attorneys are ever accused of being religious, but maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Let's see. I saw a question in chat. Where did it go? Oh, Beth Gator says, naive question. Has the autopsy results been given to the defense? Not as such. Not as such. They haven't been formally turned over as discovery at this time, I don't believe. However, I would bet a sizable amount of money that Rob Wood has told prior and Means what's in that report. Not so much to give them a heads up so that they can start defending it, no, but to tell them, hey, listen, your clients need to start talking quick. It would be much better for them if they confess, because you see what I got here?
I mean, it kind of, I hate to bring it up. It's kind of like the Chris Watts case. Once they said, we know you did, you did this kind of thing. The only thing they had to bargain with him was his ego. He did not want those autopsy reports and those photos out of what he did to his wife and his kids. And that's why he pled down and didn't take a death penalty,
Mm-hmm.
It could be the same way here, but I'm not sure that either one of them will go for that. I don't know.
Yeah, it depends on what level of delusion these two actually have, but if they're facing a possible death penalty charges and they're given an opportunity to plead down for life in prison without parole, take it. You'd be a fool not to, especially given the emotional nature of this case.
I think Chad would maybe like to keep it out of the public because of his family. I don't think Lori would. I don't think it bothers her one bit when it's going to come down to what happened to the kids. I don't think there is a guilt trip that you can put on her, even as a mother, that would make her not be proud of what she's done. And I know that's a terrible thing to say about a person, but I really do think that's what type of person she is.
Yep, I agree. Little Lady Di, sorry to interrupt, but Little Lady Di, thank you for the super chat. She says, hey, when you look so cute. Thank you so much. I'm having a lot of fun with this filter. I might use this a lot more often. I know this one is kind of silly with the crown and all that, but there are a lot of filters where I can come on and do a live stream and not have to spend 2 hours doing my makeup beforehand.
Yeah, she can be a koala. I mean, really.
I can be anything. I can be a potato. Find a potato filter that might come in handy for this case. But all right, the other thing that I wanted to talk about. All right, I have been going back through Chad's preliminary hearing.
Oh, geez, I know. For punishment.
I am. I have masochist written on my forehead. Let me get a filter for that.
There
But
probably is one.
I've been working on a master timeline because we have like Annie Cushing's timeline. I have the original timeline that I made when I first picked up this case, which now I know there are some things wrong with that. So I got to fix that. But a lot has come out since last June. So I'm working on a new master timeline. I have a huge spreadsheet going, 5 pages worth of stuff. And I wanted to analyze all of the contradictory times and dates that like Melanie Gibb gives us, because she gets her story confused between her different interviews. So I'm going through this. And one thing that I had to listen to again in the preliminary hearing that I urge you all to listen to again. All right. If you go back through my videos, I have the preliminary hearing in condensed form where I take out all the downtime and it's just the trial moves along quickly. The phone call between that Lori called Chad when he was sitting outside the house when they were digging up the yard. Do you remember that call, Jess?
Yep.
And I'm listening to it again. And I'm like, it's far more damning than I think I realized at the time. Because he says something about, oh, they're digging up the yard, something, the kids. And Lori's response to that.
House? Yeah.
You know what she said? She said,
are they looking in the house or something like that, right?
Well, she said, are they looking in the house? And he said, no, they're digging up the yard, or they're looking in the yard, something for the kids. And she goes, oh. Now, if you were an innocent person and your children were missing, and your husband on the outside tells you law enforcement is digging up your backyard, wouldn't you be like, oh my God, why? Do they think the kids are there? What is going on?
Would be why. Yeah.
Right. But she's just like,
oh, do you want me to pray in my awful voice?
Yep. So
you better pray.
Listening to that call this time around after not hearing it for 6 months, I was like, oh, that's bad, because they both don't react. They're like, yeah. Chad's like, oh, well, I guess I'm in trouble now. He didn't say that, but that's his whole attitude.
Do you want me to call you later? And he's like, well, I don't think you can. I mean, exactly. He knew his butt was going to be in jail across the street.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a terrible call for both of them.
Yep. So that I urge you all to go re-listen to that, because I think that is one of the most telling pieces of evidence I've ever heard in a case like this. Not that we've ever seen a case like this, but that phone call shows Lori called from jail, not knowing what was happening. He said they're digging in the yard, and she's like, oops. And he's like, yeah. She's like, well, I'll call you later. He's like, oh, good luck. And they're like, okay. And he's like, you better talk to Mark Means.
Do you think that she didn't know what was happening? Or do you think somebody said,
I don't think
your
she
homeboy's on the news?
Yeah. I don't think she knew that they were there. I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah. But
I always wondered about that.
Yeah.
It's coincidental either way. It's hilarious. In a kid's murder case, kind of hilarious, I guess. Probably wasn't the best way to put that, but how weird.
Yeah, I don't.
And then you've got Emma Daybell like moving across the yard in like a week.
Mm-hmm. Hot Scorpio asked, how did she know to call them? We don't know if she knew to call because she knew somebody was there. She may have seen it on the news. I have no idea. Or
her spidey senses were tingling.
Maybe it's just one of those times of day where she normally would call him. She was free to call him at that point from jail. So, maybe she just randomly called at the time they happened to be there. I was like, oh, that's bad. But the whole conversation, if they were innocent and they did not actually bury the children there.
I love that.
My phone. Yeah.
It's always at the best time.
Even if Lori didn't know that the children were buried there, her reaction would have been so very different. So weird. There's no way to justify her reaction on that phone call with she didn't know those kids were in that yard. That's it. Yeah. That's it. There's no way. So, man, that was bad. But yeah, re-listening to the preliminary hearing was very hard because I had to sit through prior and all of his objection, Your Honor, foundation, and all of his garbage again. But
if I had to watch that again, I'd watch it on mute, and I would only watch like the FBI guys.
Because you thought they were handsome.
And I'd skip the other parts.
Wait, just Rhonda said that she has a 12-pack of Tab. You do? Because they stopped making Tab. I bought every can of Tab I could find at every store within 20 miles. And
really?
They stopped making it now. Oh my
I
God,
haven't
she
even
has tab.
thought about that in forever.
I love tab. My favorite soda. So I'm a
I
little
always like that
heartbroken.
knee-high peach stuff. Oh my gosh, that was my favorite. It's
How
bliss.
did Chad know Mark Means? I'm not sure. I don't know. We've never found out their connection, whether he just picked a name out of a phone book or he was recommended to him from someone that knew them through their LDS people, or I have no idea.
Why Chad? Do we know that it's Chad who knew it?
Well, Chad
I
told
didn't know
Lori to
that.
talk to him. Somehow Mark
Okay.
Means came into their orbit after, because Mark Means actually took up Lori's case
Right.
after her
Whenever the
attorneys quit.
chick quit, yeah, when that
Yeah.
woman quit. That
So
woman was probably the best person she could have had.
yeah. So it's possible that he was just connected to them somehow through the group. We don't know. We've never found that out. I'd like to ask him. Maybe I will ask him. We'll see what happens. But yeah, back to the preliminary hearing. Melanie Gibb, when she took the stand at first, and when you watch her interview with Nate Eaton, right, and you watch her
After she
interview on
disappeared.
Dateline where she's sniffing the grapes, and she really tries to portray this I'm so sweet and innocent and a little naive and
Yep.
oh goodness me kind of attitude. Boy, did she change when John Pryor went at her. Her
Mm-hmm.
entire demeanor changed on a dime because he was like, and what do you do at these preparedness events? Are they spiritual in nature? And she's like, well, your client was talking at one of them. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, back, he got all upset about that.
Or
But I thought that was
why
hilarious.
did you look at Rob Wood?
Right. Yeah.
I don't remember what question it was about, but she looked over at him. Why are you looking at him?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
Yep. But watching the two of them go at each other, that's worth watching the whole hearing. That was a really great part. But I noticed I don't know if it's a tell or a body language thing, but when he starts talking, John Pryor starts questioning her about December 22nd. That was the night that JJ died. She starts like rubbing her palm on her thigh over and over and being really fidgety. I was like, oh, interesting. I wonder if that's a body language tell or if maybe her hand was just itchy. I don't know, but it seemed like that upset her, that line of questioning. And I hadn't noticed that the first time we watched the trial. So
Was it December 22nd?
September 22nd.
September.
September.
Okay. I was like,
September.
I didn't
Sorry.
remember being okay.
Yeah. Yeah. The night of September
Wow.
22nd. And one thing that I did with my master timeline is I took all of the phone pings that we have from the day that Tylee disappeared and the day that JJ disappeared and put them in a more easier to read timeline. So you can really see how those days played out between Alex's phone and Chad's phone and the text to Tammy and all of this stuff. And man, that is some, I can't even imagine where you're going to come up with a defense for that. I cannot
No.
even begin to conceive. How can you defend that? It's so obvious to me, but and that was one thing that Emma Daybell did. Didn't she post that picture on Twitter or Pinterest or something of the two raccoons in a canoe?
Oh,
Trying to think that was funny. It's like, oh goodness, that's not funny. That's not funny at all. Yeah, House Scrubby said that sounds like a self-soothing gesture. Yeah. Yeah, I think that question really got her and she started doing that motion. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Mel. So Brenda says, I don't trust Melanie as far as I can throw her. I think she knows way more than she has let on. She was one of the last people to see JJ. Brenda, I could not agree with you more. I have done rant upon rant about Melanie Kim. Yeah.
I think what bothers me so much about her is she's such a non-person. Like she has no idea who she is. You can tell between the book that she wrote, the interviews that she's given, every bit of her identity is tied to somebody else. She was somebody's wife, somebody's mom, somebody's friend, um, a follower of her church, that kind of thing. And it's really, really obvious. Like right now, she's finding power in that she's not arrested. So she's finally above Lori and Chad. Like it's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
But I think she was so jealous of Tylee. I really do think that's a lot of, like, she almost talked about her like she was disgusted, whenever they asked her questions about Tylee. I think Tylee had more maternal instinct at her at 16 than Melanie could ever fake,
Yep, I agree. And listening to, remember the call that she made to Lori and Chad to sort of try and catch them into where's JJ.
The Orbit gum commercial.
Yeah.
Who you
That call
calling
is
the cootie
crazy.
queen? You went liquor.
Exactly.
It reminds me of that Orbit
Yeah,
gum
the
commercial.
Scripture Wars phone
Oh,
call.
that was awful.
And I'm thinking about this phone call, and I'm thinking like, all right, Lori came to the conclusion very quick that Melanie was recording this phone call.
Oh yeah,
very quick. She was like,
obvious.
"Oh, you're recording this," and I'm thinking, is Lori saying that because she knows that the stuff that Melanie is asking? She's like, "Why are you asking me that? You know exactly where JJ is." Oh, wait a minute, you're recording this. Okay, I'll play.
I think that was her one warning. I know you're recording. Keep up, and I'll drag you down with me.
Yep.
You know?
Yes. Exactly. Yep. You want to play this game? Fine, I'll play. But all I have to do is say, "Well, you were there. I'll take both of us down." So I really want to listen to that call a few more times, because I think there's some pretty heavy psychology going on between Lori and Chad and what's her name? Melanie. Oh, Lori Hellison just hi. I'm crazy for the new filter queen. Thank you. I'm trying to figure out how to make Zoom work so we can do some easier live streams with guests. Failing at it tonight. I can't get Jess on the screen for whatever reason, but I'll work it out. But it's cold here in Texas. Lori
Hellis, not big enough for both of us.
That's true. But it's going to be 20 degrees. We're getting 3 to 8 inches of snow. So I figured, why not a winter snow queen? While we talk about my friend Mark Means. Lori Hellis, have you seen the judge's motion to, or response to Mark Means' motion to reconsider for the disqualification of Rob Wood? I thought that was pretty funny. Now, as you all know, I'm not a lawyer. I'm kind of guessing. I'll talk to Lori Hellis about this.
Last night, right?
What?
But you stayed at a Holiday Inn last night.
What?
So you can be a lawyer.
Oh,
I said I'm not a lawyer.
No, but the judge pretty much smacking down Mark Means, saying there is no basis for this crazy motion. What are you doing? This is a civil thing that you do. This is a criminal case. You can't do it here. I was like, oh, are you kidding me? Did that like make you cringe really hard? I mean, I read that and I'm like, oh, that cannot be good. That definitely cannot be good. Poor Mark Means. You know how I keep saying that. Poor Mark. So if any of you don't know, Lori Hellis has a website called the LoriVallowStory.com. Maybe one of the mods can link to it. Really sign up. It's a free email newsletter where you get her legal interpretation of what's happening, which is so good. So good. I usually wait to read her newsletters before I do live to make sure my head's on straight. It's fantastic. And I suggest you all, I think there's a link in the description to it too. So yeah, please follow that. It's great. And one of these days, we're going to get Lori Hellis on to answer your legal questions, so I don't have to bluff my way through it. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, we're going to get 3 to 8 inches of snow. The only time it's happened since I've lived in Texas for 16 years now was about 5 or 6 years ago. We had about 3 or 4 inches of snow, lasted for a couple of days. It was glorious, but everything in the world shut down. Everything. You were not going anywhere. They don't have laws like in Connecticut. If it snows, you have to shovel your sidewalk and the steps up to your house. You have to shovel these things. They don't do that here. So I went to go outside and all the steps around my apartment complex are covered in ice and snow. And I'm like, when are you guys going to shovel? They're like, what? It'll melt. Okay. So we don't do that here. So yeah, we are planning to hunker down for a couple of days, do a big grocery shopping tomorrow and everything. It's going to be fun. So I am all in my winter mode. Lori Hellis says she thought it was cringeworthy. Okay, good. We'll have to talk about that because I think that was quite a statement from the judge for sure.
You almost wish they had done that hearing on Zoom just to see his face.
Yeah. Yep.
Actually sat through that one.
Definitely. And Lori Hellis moved to Arizona to avoid snow. Yeah, I did too. When I was in Connecticut, the last winter I was there, I had just met my husband, Dave, and he was still in England. And I think it was like January, February. I had to get the kids to school. They were both little and both had to go to school like 7 o'clock in the morning. And I'm out there at the school bus with like literally 5 to 6 feet snowbanks. 2 little kids. It was like minus 12 degrees where the air hurts your face. It's just painful to be
And
outside.
why in the world did they have school?
Because you get used to it by February in Connecticut. It's like, oh, whatever, snow. But I said I said, that's it. I am done. I'm leaving. And by July of that year, I moved to Texas. I've had it. Could not handle it anymore. Whew.
Lori Hillis, have she not learned not to move to Arizona by following this case? There's a few states I will not go to.
Colorado.
First being Colorado. The second being Alaska. And, followed by Idaho and Arizona. These crazy people.
Yep. Oh, just Rhonda's in Utah. That's another one.
Yeah. I'm going to avoid that one. I think you should avoid the Pacific Northwest. I did that for a year.
Yep. Yeah. Just Rhonda says here in Utah, when we hear of places like Texas or Arizona getting snow and freaking out, we snicker a little bit. Yeah, I do too. And because I'm from New England, I grew up in New England winters with all the snow and ice. And so when I'm down here, like the other day, my husband was going to work. I'm like, you know what? Don't take the car. He's like, why not? There's no ice on our street. It's all dry. Like, don't take the car. It's not you. It's all the other people. Because people in Texas don't understand how to drive in snow and ice and things like that. Like, and you're not smashing up my car. You can walk. It's 2 blocks away. So,
but what are you going to do if they hit him and he's not in the car?
I told him, I was like, you have to walk way up off the sidewalks because, they come flying around the corner and spin out.
Just making sure we got our priorities straight here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's dangerous. Okay. Like, I'd rather them just not go outside. Because people in Texas, we don't have snow plows and stuff like that here. So if it snows, you're just going to stay home. That's it.
Well, there's more room for steak out there.
Yeah. Lots of steak here in Texas.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
We get it every once in a while. Like, we'll get snow every year, but not much.
Mm-hmm.
Not much here. When we lived in North Carolina, I lived about an hour away from the coast. We never got it. I don't think the entire time we were there. We would get like the dusting, but I don't even think we had 2 inches ever the entire time we lived there. It was nice.
Definitely.
An hour from the beach.
All right. So tomorrow, I'm probably going to do a recorded video, not a live stream, for all the new documents that just went up tonight. 2 filings by Rob Wood, a brief in opposition to Mark Means' declared motion to compel, and Rob Wood's response to the supplemental declaration of Mark Means in support of the motion to compel. So basically 2 filings by Rob Wood saying, stop. Can we just make this stop, please? But I'll go through them. We'll read them in a video so you can have them. They will be posted up in Discord in a few minutes as soon as we're done here. So all that's going on. We did not get charges this week. I am a sad panda. Maybe next week. Stay tuned. We'll follow that. Upcoming, we have the 7. Do I sell that tiara in my merch? Stephanie, no, this is not real. I don't know if I can make it. This is just a filter from
no, we have some in our Amazon cart.
Yes, we do. You can go to Amazon and find tiaras, definitely. Just send me a link where I can buy tab on Amazon. Yeah, but it's old tab, isn't it? They're not still making it, so it's somebody's old tab. I don't know if I want to get that or not. We'll see. But yeah, I do not sell this filter in my merch store because the tiara, because it's just a filter. It's not real. It's just a cartoon drawing thing. So there's that. I'm glad you love it, Anita. I'm having a lot of fun with them. So you think Garrett knows Barry C? Yeah, Cynthia, I've heard that too. That Garrett Smith is a friend of Barry Cox. I don't know if that's true or not. I have no way to know, but I have heard that as well. All right, so this weekend, watch out for a video of Saturday or Sunday, depending on the weather. If the power's out, I'm not going to be making videos, obviously, but I'll try to get that out before the power does go out with the new filings. They're nothing to freak out about, not any big thing, just procedural stuff. We have the hearing on the 17th, and sometime this weekend, if my power holds out, Paul, you all know Paul from reporting live from my sofa. I love Paul to death. I have told Paul about Zoom and these filters, and we have to do a live. So Paul and I are planning to get together this weekend, and hopefully we'll get Jess's laptop up and running, and we can all do a live stream and play with these filters and just be ridiculously silly. Because when you're dealing with these cases all the time, you need a break, and you just need to laugh and be absolutely silly. So we're planning that for sometime the weekend. I don't know if it's going to be on Paul's channel or here or Jess's channel or where we're going to do it, but I'll certainly let you all know. So stay tuned to that.
That will be hilarious.
It will be. That'll be a lot of fun. All right. So if any questions about the case, ask them down in the description below. I'll try to answer them, or one of the mods will. Lori Hellis reads the comments sometimes. So we'll get the answers to you. You can also join us in Discord, totally free to use. It's chat 24 hours a day, video chat, voice chat, whatever you want, text. There's everything in Discord. Discord is the place to be, and it's totally free. So please join us there. You can also become a channel member, and you get special bonuses like a badge. Your name is in green. You get special emojis, all kinds of stuff. And you can follow me on Patreon, where I do more personal and in-depth content specifically for that platform. So that's all the ways you can find me. Everything's in the description. Let's give a big happy birthday to Jess Nelson and thank her for being here with me. Jess, you know, I always say I couldn't do this without you. Could not do this without Jess. Well, it's true.
We'll have more fun doing it with me either way.
Yes, we do. Absolutely. Yeah. And next time I will definitely work harder on getting Jess actually on the screen. I don't know why that's not working, but I've just picked up Zoom today. So it's my first time using it. So I apologize to Jess, but we'll get you on screen next time. And Fuzzy Doxy, yes, there is a Jason filter that I'm sure Paul's going to use. So be prepared. Oh, it's going to be fun.
I found me an Audrey Hepburn filter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had Jess and Rosie and I have been playing all day with filters. So
all day. I sent them to my husband at work for lunch, and he was like, "It looks like you're having fun today." Yeah. You have no idea.
Definitely. We're having more fun than Lori and Chad are. I'll tell you that for sure. All right. So Mark, if you're watching, hi, we got to talk. We still have some stuff to talk about, my friend. But yeah, special message to my friend, Don Mark Quixote. Absolutely. All right. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate all of the support. Thank you to the channel members, Patreons. Thank you to my mods who keep everything running so smoothly around here. And I will talk to you all very soon. So I have no idea how to end this. I have no idea how to turn this off.
We'll never get out of here now.
Yeah. So we could be here for another hour, but I'm going to poke around and click some things. Anything else you want to say while I figure this out?
I have no idea.
Goodness gracious.
I have a big button on the left-hand side that says leave.
Well, that's
you have that one?
Yeah. I have one that says end. I'm going to click the one that says end. So hopefully it'll end. Talk to you guys soon.